little fairy pixies. How you doing today? I'm the real Manos, and we are back with some new comic reviews. This is the weekly comics poll, and as always, it's brought to you by my own comic book I write and create called Red Knight. And it's got art from J.C. Grande, and this issue has a backup story drawn by James Harmon. And issue 5 is out now, and it's available in print and digital. Go get it. So, how about those other comic books that we're talking about? Let's see. I have 4 this week, 3 of which are from Marvel, and 1, holy crap, it's from DC. Hey Justin, I thought you never were going to buy a DC book again. Well, I have made the promise over and over again that if they make Cassandra Cain Batgirl again, I will buy that. And this was, let's see, what's this officially called? Oh, actually, let me just go into what I bought. This is, let's see, what is this? DC Festival of Heroes, number 1. Let's see, Heroes Reborn, number 2. Giant Size Amazing Spider-Man, number 1, King's Ransom. And, hey, a regular issue of something. Spider-Woman, number 12. And let's get going with, let's see, first 2 big guns here. And this is, let's see, DC, I think it's called, let's see, DC Festival of Heroes, the Asian Superheroes Celebration. And there's 2 covers, the group cover done by Jim Lee, and then this awesome Cassandra Cain cover, which I chose to do. And yeah, it is drawn and written by a huge group of people. Let's see, there's a lot. So I'm just going to say, there's actually 2 Cassandra Cain stories in here. There's What's in the Box from Dustin Ewan, which is a short one. I think it's 2 pages. And then the big one, Sounds, which is from, let's see, Mariko Tamaki and Marcus Tu, excuse me, who has, I think, worked on Cassandra before in the past in some books here and there. So, hey, and of course, like, the big 2 books, I think, are the Cassandra Cain short story, which starts it, and the Monkey Prince preview. So they kind of like do bookends here. And Sounds is essentially showing Cassandra going through an adventure and kind of showing her struggle with learning language. For those of you who aren't familiar, she was trained from birth to be a fighter and the greatest fighter. And this had this weird side effect where learning verbal language became secondary to her, or something that David Cain kind of sacrificed for her to learn physical language. So she understands how people move, like you would listen to people talk. So over the years, she's started to learn like human language. Now, in pre-52 continuity, she had gotten to know human language pretty well. I don't know what's happened since New 52, since I had stopped reading New 52 DC before she joined back into the regular fold. So I don't know how difficult things are for her right now, but it seems like we're kind of getting back to square one, where she's gradually learning. She does understand it, but you know, it's verbal language is a second language to her. And we get to see that. She rescues the scientist, and we have this really nice scene where after she rescues him, he asks her, let's see, actually, he goes to a boba tea thing, because that's the first thing he wants to do after he's been kidnapped and freed. Like, you know what, man, I thought I'd never get some boba tea again. I really am craving some boba tea. So he goes, and he forgets his straw, and she's right there. She says, "You're welcome." And it is basically about her kind of coping with this and kind of learning. It's a really sweet, great little story. The art's gorgeous, and I really liked it. And there's some really nice ones here. One of the Green Lanterns in a short story, Dress Code. We get this cool crossover between Connor Hawke, Green Arrow, and New Superman, who I've never I'm familiar with New Superman, but I haven't like seen him in action, and he's really interesting. Normally, I hate it when new is attached to something, but it really does kind of work in the context of this character. So it shows them going on a team up. I like this story quite a bit because Connor is going to a family dinner and he's bringing like a snack to dinner, and it gets broken during the fight. And New Superman kind of like felt a little bad about it, so he went all the way back to Hong Kong and back with a replacement for it. I really dig this one a lot. There's also some really cool backup, not just backups, excuse me, pinups here and there of characters. We get to see a Damian Wayne story. There's a Cheshire Cat story. I like this one quite a bit, and her interactions with Catwoman as well. Apparently, Cheshire is appearing in the current Catwoman story, so you can see her there. That reminds you, like, hey, if you liked her here, check it out. The 3-page Cassandra Cain. It's more of a scene, really, than a story, but I liked it a lot. Then we get Grace Choi back. I haven't seen Grace Choi in a while, and her relationship with Thunder. Really cool story. It is kind of a Marvel type of story where she goes to have dinner with Thunder's dad, and they get interrupted by a supervillain attack. It's a lot of fun. I like that one a lot. We get to see Red Arrow. Yeah, here's a Karate Kid pinup. Karate Kid, I'm not convinced really exists because I keep hearing that he exists and I never see him. I think he's appeared. I may have seen him in a Justice League story arc back in the 2000s. That's how little I see of this guy. There's a cool Katana team up with Cyborg and Blue Beetle, which I like a lot. That one's a nice story. Let's see, there's a Swamp Thing pinup, and this is gorgeous. I believe this is Talia and Cheshire Cat, I believe. Gorgeous two-page. And then we could get the Ryan, I believe this is Ryan Cho. Adam, this is a nice little story. I love this pinup of, I mean, look at this. This would be I would buy this book. That's something I wish DC and Marvel would be considering, is maybe you guys are afraid to highlight characters in issues. Actually, Marvel in the last few years has not been afraid to do that. But DC certainly has. Matter of fact, you can make a complaint that like these are all characters DC doesn't take a chance for and are doing in this anthology. It would be very cool if like you put this Asian centered team up as a Justice League book. Let's see, you could do like a female centered team. People of color, like a black centered team. Either Marvel or DC could do that. And you can imagine these things being done pretty easily. Like Marvel has already done a all-female Avengers with the A-Force, and they could easily do that again. Wonder Woman could start her own female Justice League. Black Panther could create a offshoot of the Avengers with all black members. I mean, how cool would a Black Panther, Luke Cage, Misty Knight, Blade? I mean, that's already a great book. And so on and so forth. It would be nice if one of the two main companies would consider that. And then we finish off with the Monkey Prince, which is kind of a preview of his upcoming book, where he teams up with Shazam. And it makes a nice kind of bookend. Like that's the big story, and then the finishes up with another big story. All in all, very great stuff. I enjoyed this quite a bit, and I want more. I want a Cassandra Cain ongoing. And we go right at, look, we have Barbara being Oracle, the woman in the chair for Cassandra, and there you go. You put this team on the book, and I'm done. I'm sold. I'll buy that book. This is 5 out of 5 Ram Chips. Please go check it out. It's really good. And we'll move on. Now, there's another big thing. Marvel, let's see, Heroes Reborn #2, and this, I believe, is Jason Aaron. We also have on art Dale Keown, Carlos Magno, and Ed McGuinness, all working on this. Now, this mostly follows Hyperion, and Hyperion is a history teacher and very Cold War Superman. Very, very Cold War Superman. He's kind of a prick. I'm not too familiar with Hyperion. I believe I saw him during the Hickman run of Avengers, and he never seemed this bad. But yeah, he's kind of uncaring. He's kind of unsympathetic. And he's very, very pro-America in the most toxic kind of way. And we get to see him, like, not even give a chance to some of these villains he's fighting. Not even have any kind of sympathy. He doesn't even care. Peter Parker is kind of his take on Jimmy Olsen in this reality, and he doesn't care about him at all. And, you know, he says that, you know, Peter thinks we're friends. It's like, jeez, God, what a prick. Then, of course, he murders the Hulk in this. I mean, he does like, oh, gee, it's too bad we had to do this, but I don't know. He doesn't seem that broken up about it, frankly. He gets to kind of like rest and think in the sun, where he has to carry like an American flag with him. That's kind of his fortress of solitude in the sun. Then, of course, we have this moment where his class is interrupted because he senses this hobo outside. Like, hey, who's this guy? And he swings out in full costume to talk to him, kind of be a little threatening to him. And this guy, this mysterious guy, seems kind of threatening to him. And they have a chat for a few minutes, and then he takes off. And you realize it was Steve Rogers. And Blade had freed him and told him, hey, this world is crazy. You should have been freed, like, years ago. There was this thing called the Avengers that you were part of. Now it doesn't exist anymore. I need your help on this thing. And Steve kind of wanted to check things out for himself and talk to Hyperion. And he's kind of on board with things are wrong. So, very exciting. Really digging where this is going. This is issue 2, and I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 RAM chips. Very nicely done. I'm very much enjoying this. We're going to go to Amazing Spider-Man, Giant Size Amazing Spider-Man #1, King's Ransom. Now, this is from Nick Spencer, and let's see, who's the arts on this? We've got Antonio and Gomez. And I believe this is Mark Bagley on the cover. So, okay, we're going for that big secret magic tablet that Kingpin's kind of been like trying to get to, and Boomerang is going to go get it, but he's just going in by himself, and Peter thinks he needs backup, so he calls a reunion of the New Avengers team, which is kind of cool. And we have a real nice kind of like bit of, you know, banter between among the group of them, trying to figure out, you know, what to do and how to, you know, go about things. And they, of course, are on board and decide to like beat the crap all of the criminal underworld that have like backed up Kingpin in this. Meanwhile, don't forget, Spidey's wearing this costume that allows people to stream along with him. And while this is going on, Jonah is doing this big tech introduction of, you know, what they're doing and the next step with threats and menaces while they're going. And holy crap, they're using the Spider Slayers, what they call pro Spider Slayers, which actually doesn't make any sense. You can, like, I guess pay a hefty fee and join in the fight. They're supposed to be non-lethal weaponry, so you can't, like, give lethal weapons to random people who pay online. But even they start fighting each other because people are stupid. I love the confusion the New Avengers has. Like, Spider-Woman's like, I have no idea what the hell this is about. But we get into the big scene where Spidey and Boomerang are supposed to go and, you know, get the tablet and have everything set up. And Spidey tells him, like, look, I gotta do this. And it has to be me. And Boomerang, like, fights him about it, but he eventually, like, wins the day to go do it. He gets it, and then he is taken out by the Boomerang's other villain pals. And he wakes up, and I'm going to spare you the conclusion to this. I think you should just read it on your own. The last few pages are a fantastic payoff to what's been going on. I enjoyed this quite a bit. The art's really good, and it's the usual. It's a solid Nick Spencer run, because sometimes his work can be a little frustrating or thoroughly enjoyable, and I'll definitely put this in thoroughly enjoyable. It's really nice and fast-paced, and it's very fun. And I think we got to the end of the Threats and Menaces streaming, because Spidey turns it off right in the middle of Jonah's presentation, and you know how Jonah is. That's probably not going to go well with him. So I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 Ram Chips. Don't skip this. This is the frustrating thing about, one of the frustrating things about Nick Spencer's Spider-Man run is they do these like point A2 parts and specials, and you think, oh, I can probably skip that. Like, no, this is an essential part of the story. This is the conclusion to what they've been doing, for God's sake. So don't skip this. Don't make that mistake. Just pick it up. 5 out of 5 Ram Chips. And lastly, another spider. Let's see. We got Spider-Woman, number 12. And this is Carla, let's see. This is from Carla Pecho and Pierre Perez. And I love Perez's art. He has such a fun style, and he puts together fight scenes wonderful. Because fight scenes can look like standard poses, very boring, and his fight scenes are fight scenes. You get the feeling that they're really attacking each other. Now, these two brothers have these magical swords, and they are committing robberies, and Spider-Woman catches one, and one of the brothers from prison wants to talk to her. So she goes in to talk, and it apparently was a trap, because the other brother comes to break out the brother and take her out at the same time. Therefore, she's not only fighting them, but also prisoners that they have freed during the fight. Problem, though, is these swords of power can be a bit corrupting if you use both of them. They kind of overwhelm, which is why it's more important to have two holders of the swords, like one for each sword, not one guy holding both swords, because they kind of like overwhelm you. And the brothers turn on themselves, and that gives Jessica a chance to take them out. Great stuff. I love this panel layout, because one of the new features on Jessica's suit is the wings in her costume can come off and be these cool fans that she fights with. Very nice design, and really imaginative. Then we get to the end where Jessica's been kind of putting off Roger a lot lately, and this actually was kind of the last straw for him. And we get the sense that he's breaking up with her in this. I mean, he's still going to take care of the baby, but like, hey, I think we're done. It's really sad, actually. I enjoyed this a lot. Carla's been fantastic on this book. I enjoy her version of Spider-Woman, although Kelly Thompson kind of does this thing too, where she has zero patience for supervillain bullshit. They'll go, well, you know, my grand scheme and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, whatever, I get it. You're an asshole. Let's just go. I love that. And this is really good. I'm going to also give this 5 Ram Chips. I enjoyed everything this week. I had a very good time reading all these books. Highly recommend checking them out. And you can pick up my book, Red Knight, in print and digital over at Manos Publishing. You can also find me, The Real Manos, at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr. You can support this channel and Manos Publishing at just $1 a month over at Patreon. And I think that's it. So we'll talk to you next week. Push the button, Lindsay.